Vombie, a story from Dr. Angelo Gabriel. Preface. This story contains vampires and zombies, but it won't be a hybrid between these both species in this book. A hybrid between vampires and zombies is bullshit. Both are dead. Combinations between these dead monsters were ridiculous. Let me think about it. A hybrid who sucks blood and eats human flesh. And the creature is a little bit smarter than a zombie and dumber than a vampire. That is rubbish. That is the reason I don't use this foolish idea in this book. I wish you get a great entertainment and a lot of fun. Now the horror begins. First chapter. The transformation. Sam and Fino are two young vampires with a preference for disco and travels. The life of a vampire is boring, because it is eternal. Sam is an average tall young man with dark brown hair and a sporty body. Fino is a small Italian man with black hair, cafe-colored skin and an athletic body. He is only 5 centimeters smaller than Sam. They won't be conspicuous. That's the reason they drink blood from donation, like all vampires in our time. It is long ago, exactly decades, since bloodsuckers bite in necks without a punishment. The humans are too powerful and dangerous for vampires. A-bombs, guns and biological weapons don't kill only humans. Okay, virus and co. have no reaction at that species, but the mass destruction weapons destroy the only food of these predators. The highest law of the last vampire said, no vampire suck blood directly from a human. Who break this law will be hunted and killed by the vampire community. No human may know about vampires. Should the man-child get knowledge about the existence of vampires or bloodsuckers, always the same, will hunt it and die. Only the consume of donated blood is allowed. If a human see a vampire drinking blood from a tin, they will think we are nuts, but not a vampire. To drink donated blood is disgusting, but not against the law. For human it is moral and ethical dubious. That's human. Pitiful, disgusting and cruel. More cruel than a vampire ever before. But let us begin at the start. Both friends were born in 1937, 1 year before the Second World War. Sam was born in May and older than Fino. Fino saw the light of the world in August. Their parents were friends a long time ago since they visited the same school. Sam's dad was a tall, handsome man with large shoulders and many muscles. His son was much smaller than his father, but Sam gets his hair color and his intelligence and many useful skills. His dad was able to fix every electrical equipment. He was a great soccer and a MacGyver type. Nothing was impossible to construct or to build. Sometimes he drives his wife crazy with his developments, but many of his inventions were great and useful. For example, he created a self-mixing machine for cake and a vacuum cleaner. Against to his big father, Sam's mother was small, had long brown hair, a slim butt, very feminine body and with a wonderful character. Fino's parents were typical Italian people. His father was tiny, with dark hair and skin, brown eyes, with a wild temperament, and very sweet and kindful. His mama was a little bit taller than her husband. She had long black hair, fire in her eyes, and looked like Mama Miracoli. She was the best cook for Italian food in the town. She was so good that they opened an original Italian restaurant. No one could resist the delicious meals of Fino's mother. She cooks the best pizzas and pasta of the whole world. During their school time, they visit the same class and get attracted to each other. Sam's dad asked Sam's mother in the 4th class, "Would you like to be my girlfriend?" She answered, "Yes, I." Her love for him started in kindergarten, and finally they come together. From this moment they were a couple. Fino's parents need more time to come together. Most in life, they hated each other at the begin. It is like the phrase, hate and love is very close. With their Italian background, they were too similar. After they become almost adults, all changed. Fino's mother get big tits, and Fino's father look very handsome after he get muscles. From one day to another, the struggle ends, and the love begins. After school's out, Sam's father start an education to a baker, and Fino's dad was a butcher. After 2 years of education and saving all their money, they opened together the first baker-butcher shop combination in Germany. Fino's father produces flesh and sausages for the bread from Sam's father. Together they earn a lot of money. After a few years of working and saving, both couples get married. They celebrate together a giant double wedding. With the great cooking experiences from Fino's mother and the baking from Sam's dad, it was a matter of time they opened finally the first Italian restaurant in Germany. Fino's dad provided the restaurant of his wife with meat and salami. After delivery, he goes back and works in his butchery. His wife was the chief in the restaurant and he was only the husband, but that was okay. The butchery was not far from the restaurant, and so it was Fino's dad's duty to deliver meat to his wife. For the delivery, he only had to go over the street and take the boxes in the fridge of the pizzeria. His wife was not weak, but he thinks that's a man's thing. Typically Italian, macho from the head to the feet. Although he studied butchery, he was an excellent pasta producer. He get his knowledge in Italian from his father. A few months after Sam's and Fino's birth, their dads have to go into the war. Both children do not remember a lot about the war. They was too young to remember. The only that they have in mind are the bombs and the destroyed cities. Both don't know what was the reason of the war. They learned the history of the past in school like every one of us. Nothing close to them was unusual for both friends. They were born into the war, destruction and death. After the war, in the age of 8, both friends visit the school. The life changed for both boys. No bombs, no shooting, and the destroyed cities were slowly fixed. New houses were built, and the boys wondering how the world really looks like without war. All was new and clean. Nothing was destroyed. But both boys have to grow up without a father. Both died in the war as a brave soldier. They never saw their sons. Both mothers work very hard for their sons. The boys should get a good education. To grow up in the ruins was not so bad. No television, no toys, and no internet. But a lot of good friends and a lot of time to play outside. They built toys and fortress and used their fantasy. Before the playtime, they were very involved in the school and with the homework. But after their duty, they play in the sand of the building sites. Both boys were close to each other and the best friends. After school's out, both started an education as a mechanic. Lots of cars were destroyed, but Germany's economy increases rapidly. The old fox Konrad Adenauer gets contracts from Russia and USA. A few years after the war, all German cities were fixed. The people banned the memory of the war out of their mind and try to forget the horror of the past. The people think nothing happened. 5 years after the education from Sam and Fino, they transform to vampires. It is logical that they wasn't vampires from begin. They were born as humans and transformed to undead. At first they were normal young 20 years old men. That changed in the year 1957 with a car accident. They drove on a freeway to a birthday party of a friend. In the same moment they passed a truck, one of the tires exploded and the explosion wave shocked Sam so strong that he lost the control of the car. They smashed into the barrier of a freeway and rolled over the roof of the car more than 5 times. After they climbed out of the car wreck, they stand under shock. Both were only weak hurt. Fino sit on the freeway barrier and speak no word. He looks into the emptiness and doesn't move. Instead Sam cried like a baby in the near of Fino. He looked at the car and screamed. At the meantime the truck driver stopped and walked back to the shocked young man. With a soft voice he tried to silence Sam and get a reaction from Fino. Suddenly a car come in high speed and gets the man from the side. Blood flow over Sam and Fino. Sam gets a few drops in the mouth and swallowed all because he screams the whole time and never stopped. He doesn't know what he swallowed. If he knows, he wouldn't care. Fino was silent, but he gets a big drop of blood on his lips. Under shock he began to lick the blood from his lips. It was a reflex. No one knows about AIDS in this time, and the boys don't know what they do. If they were under normal conditions, they realized a taste of copper and spit the blood out in this moment. But under shock it doesn't matter. As the emergency transport came, Sam and Fino didn't realize what happened. They didn't realize the doctor, the question, the police and the fireman, and for their luck the injection of sedative in their arms. After the injection both fall in sleep and Sam finished his screaming. Fino was totally silent, but the helpers thought it is better to sedative him also. Without any optical wounds, the doctors treated only the shock and the contusion. They didn't realize the transport to the hospital. At this moment both were totally without a consciousness. In this state they didn't feel the transformation to vampires, although it is not painful, but the transformation could be annoying. All senses get nuts in the state of change. The eyes were better and worse, also the ears and smell. Behind their own human fangs they get fangs of a predator. They were able to put the fangs in and out with a muscle contraction. But at this stadium they don't know. A long time after the transformation they wake up. The next memory of the boys was the wake up in the hospital. They realized at once something is different. The neon light was glaring, and all in the room was so loud. The smell in the air was at the same time delicious and disgusting. Why it smells delicious they don't know. A few times later they try to find out the source of the stinking odor. Finally they found it. It was the disinfection. After the boys wake up, a nurse tells them what happened. She explains them the car accident and that a few people died in the catastrophe. It was a great luck that both be alive and not hurt. The most of their memory was dark, but both was for sure that they were wounded. The nurse confirmed the blood on their clothes, but in the examination nobody found any wound. She confirmed them again they were very lucky. Fino was faster than Sam to get back his mind. He asked the nice nurse about the people who died. She told them from the truck driver, which blood were on their clothes. His body was already missed. The police appreciate that his body was totally destroyed in the accident. In this disaster more than 5 people were killed. The boys were shocked and stared asking in the air. The nurse continued her exploration. One couple with kids died after Fino walked over the freeway and two women at the moment Sam take his friend from the street. Both vehicles changed their direction to avoid a collision. All died in a deep fall. They smashed on the ground of a canyon close to the freeway. Nobody was found alive. They could not survive. At this moment both guys were pale. They are responsible for the death of 5 people. The nurse tried to calm them, but the sadness was too strong. She told them they were under shock and not responsible for what happened. The police call it irresponsible. That changed nothing for the 2 boys. They were for sure, we killed 5 people. Irresponsible or not, that doesn't matter. After the nurse leave, she confirmed the guys that no one will charge them. Totally sad and depressed, hike both with no aim in the hospital a few hours later. They would like to know all about the delicious smell. It comes from all over and they were interested what it is. Their hunger increases from minute to minute and they become dizzy. To treat the symptoms of the shock, they get an injection of blood for the loss of the liquid. After a very short time, both boys feel better and leave the hospital. 2 days later, they report to the police. They tell about the birthday party, the explosion of the tire, and after that they can't remember anything. A case of blackout. For the policeman was all clear. The boys were innocent and irresponsible. It is not criminal to be under shock. The report of the doctors confirms the story and the alcohol test of the boys was negative. So they leave the police station without an accusation. That was the best that can happen. The boys have greater problems. Since 2 days they eat so much they can't without to be full and satisfied. Only bloody meat weakening their hunger. The friends tried a lot. They go to the next door and buy sweets, vegetables, sausage, fruits, meat, wine and more. From the dead animals they buy the most. It smelled better than all. From a sausage made of blood they buy the most, although they never liked it. But now it smells so good that they take 20 of it. At home the friends tasted all part for part. The taste of the sweets was very good, but no satisfaction. Too much sugar hurts the teeth. Vegetables make them puke. Wine was an excellent drink. The taste was super, no reaction on the alcohol, and minimized the hunger a little bit. Sam drank 3 bottles, and Fino 5 without a reaction. Grilled and spiced meat was good in taste, but the hunger stayed. Without spice the meat wasn't better. But after they swallowed it pure, the pain of the hunger disappears slowly. They get the best results with bloody cow flesh. At the meal they don't realize the extra fangs in their mouths. The hunger was so strong that they can't concentrate. Only the delicious meat gets their full attention. Piece for piece the hunger go away. After 5 hours of eating and 10 kilograms of meat and sausages, they become full and satisfied. The best food was for both the bloody one. Tell me about it. After they were satisfied, the fangs disappeared and the young vampires didn't realize it. The satisfaction gave them control over their mind again. Suddenly, they didn't understand the world. What happened with them? This great hunger all the time, only satisfied with a lot of bloody meat? They became afraid and would like to contact the next hospital. But they don't arrive the hospital. They didn't leave the apartment. They get a visitor.